I want to welcome you to the Mylio Photos coffee break. My name is Angela Andrew. Today I'm joined by Lori Rubin. We are both product evangelists for Mylio Photos, and we're here to help you be successful with the software. Today we're going to be talking about a new feature in Mylio called workflows. And these are settings that you can enter and get out of very easily that limit what you see in Mylio Photos. And it's just a way to kind of focus your workflow and be more efficient. So let me go ahead and jump into sharing my screen, and we will take a look at this and I'll walk you through how to do that. So we're here in my library, and right now I am in the public space, which means that I've already limited some of what I'm viewing in my library to things that I want to have publicly visible when I'm doing these demos. Most people are going to be hanging out in this space for everything. So if I go here and click on spaces, most people in your own library, you're going to hang out in everything. But for this, I'm in public, and you'll see that right here at the top. Now, this new feature called workflows, if I go ahead and click on this here in the left sidebar, you can see we have a new little icon here called workflows. That's going to pop up with a little window giving you an intro of what's happening. And I'm going to click on this and say, don't show again. But just so you know where you can find more information, I'm going to click on this learn more, because these are really helpful and point you to more information about these tools when they're introduced. This opens up our product manual. And you can see here at the top, we've got a quick little introduction here about what workflows are. And if you scroll down, we have more information about these individual settings. So I'm going to go ahead and just pop that off to the side onto another screen, because there are some settings in here that I want to be able to give you more information on, but I'm going to just put that over there for the moment. So for now, I'm going to say choose a workflow goal, and let's try it now. And that goes ahead and opens up another little window here on the side, and you'll see that we have several different options. We have all tools, which is the default, which means you have access to everything in Mylio. And then you have basic, organizing, photo sharing, file management, and device setup. Now, one thing that's different about this than Spaces is these are not locked, so you can't passcode protect these. Anybody who has access to these things can switch between these different workflows. And this is just meant for people who are in here to be able to focus and do specific things and follow specific tasks. So let's go ahead and take a look here at what some of these things mean. I'm going to go ahead and switch to basic. And that's going to see, you can see that we've limited and eliminated quite a few of our options here. So let me bring back my browser window here for just a moment. And I'm going to go here to this section here on workflows. You'll notice we have a drop down here for workflow preset specifications. And this tells us exactly what is included in each one of these presets. So when we switch to the basic, we're getting dynamic search, all photos, and it hides all of the rest of the views. Under our tools, for basic, we have access to all of our tools. So that's the photo dedupe, declutter, and face tagging. And when we're looking at our panels, which are going to be over here on the right, you have access to the info and edit panels, but sync and storage are hidden. So they're still there. They're not gone. You're not locked out of them. It's just narrowing the field so you can kind of focus on specific tasks. Let's take a look at a few of these other workflows and get a better idea of what's here. So let's take a look at organizing. You'll see we have different options that appear here. And if I bring back that browser window, under organizing, you have everything except for your dashboard. So it hides that dashboard icon here under views. You still have access to all of your tools here. So batch face tagging, dedupe, and declutter. And you have access again, just to those basic panels for info and edit. Sync and storage are hidden. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. These are all pretty self-explanatory, but I wanted to let you know what they mean and where you can go to find more information. So photo sharing, again, is really focused in on just sharing. You have access here to just your all photos and your albums. And again, only info and edit. Let's go ahead and switch to the next one. All right, so here we've switched to the file management. And this one limits you to all photos and the folders view. And you'll notice now I have an individual image selected, so I also have my storage and sync panel available. So that gives you, again, different options for accomplishing different types of goals. And then we have, finally, our device setup. If I switch to this, it hides all of our views and it pops me right into the dashboard so I can really focus in on managing my actual devices and getting things set up on the back end. So these are just meant to make things easier, more convenient. I recommend clicking through them, seeing what you like. In the future, we will have ways for you to build custom workflows. That's probably coming in the next major release. So it's something we're working on, and I know that a lot of people are going to ask me about that, so I wanted to get that out there up front. And you'll notice here at the top of the screen, it says public, which is the space that I'm in. And then it also says which workflow that I'm in. So if you're seeing your screen and some things are hidden and you know that you're supposed to have access to everything, just take a quick glance here at the top of the screen, and that's going to tell you which space and workflow you're in. You can always go back to that workflows option and go back to all tools. And that brings you back to the view that we're all very familiar with, that we all know. And it's very straightforward. So those are really helpful. Another place you can go to get information of this as you go through is we have a brand new Learn panel. So if you haven't discovered this yet, over here on the right, there's a little book icon. If you click on that, that's the Learn panel. And I'm just going to give you a quick overview here on the info. This takes you through the Getting Started guide. This gives you direct access to our live chat on our website. So the initial questions are going to be from an AI bot. But if it doesn't answer your question the way you want, you can say speak to an agent. And if it's during business hours, you can actually get in touch with a live person at Mylio, which is really very cool. We also have questions here. So you can see that I recently pulled up that workflows question. So let me close out of that. And this brings you right into our main knowledge base in the support website. So you can go in here into this help. And if you want to learn more about workflows, you can just type in workflow. And this is going to bring up everything that references it. So here's this article, and this gives you a quick overview of what's in the manual. So it has some basic information, and then it links to that same page in the manual so you can get there this way as well. It's a really great resource for a ton of stuff in Mylio, and I highly encourage checking it out. The next option down here is news. So we have an article here. You've probably seen something very similar in the community for the update and release notes. And we have our learn information here. So this is just more information on the different things that Mylio can do. And finally, this last learn more, this is some great information for different resources. So we've got, again, a link to the manual, a link to the community, our fundamentals course, Ready, Set, Go, which is a program that Lori runs for new users. So if you're new to Mylio Photos, I highly recommend checking this out. She does presentations Monday through Friday just for new users to get started on various things that are important to get set up properly with Mylio. And she also does live Q&A during these sessions, and she does them twice a day. So make sure you check that out. It's free and incredible. We also have this Learn from Experts option, and this will give you a link to not only Lori's Ready, Set, Goes, it'll take you to our events page, and also options like our concierge program and things like that. So lots of great information here in this Learn panel, but what I really wanted to point out was things that you would normally search in the manual. You can get to a shortened, abbreviated version of that right here in the app. It just pops up this little window, and if you're done with it, you can just go ahead and close it and carry on using Mylio. So I think that covers everything to do with workflows today. Are there any workflow questions? Let me go ahead and pull up the chat here and see what we've got. Thank you, Lori, for sharing those links. So John's asking, can workflows be locked to spaces? So no, they cannot. So many of the same things that show and hide different things within workflows can also be applied to spaces. So let me just briefly show you what that looks like. If I go over here to my spaces and click Manage Spaces, these are passcode protected. And if I go in here to say add a new space, we have these user role presets. So these give you a starting point for controlling what people can see and what they can do within the app. So let's go ahead and choose here a family history collaborator. I'm going to go ahead and click yes. And you'll notice that updated all of these different options. So here under Manage Views and Tools, this is going to do very similar things to what workflows are doing. Workflows are meant more for you as you're using the program, jumping between different tasks. Spaces are more for sharing your library with your spouse, your kids, collaborators on different projects, and so forth. So these are going to control what you can see in that space, and it's very similar to what's controlled and you can see inside of workflows. It's kind of a different door to the same building, but if you do it through spaces, these are passcode controlled. So if you apply this to, let's say, your spouses or your kids, or your sister-in-law who's also working on family history, you can go ahead and passcode protect that so they can't get out of that and they can't see things that they're not supposed to see. Whereas workflows are more just for you as you're using it. So hopefully that clarifies that aspect. Looks like Harold here has a question as well. Why would I want to use a workflow which seems to limit tools available at any one time? Great question. You certainly don't have to, but it's an option. So if you go ahead and go into these workflows and you know that you just want to work on file management, sometimes it's nice to clean up the interface and only see things that are related to what you're working on. So if I go ahead and click on that, I can just go to my folders view. I can work on moving things around between my files and folders, and it just focuses to that particular job. Now, in the future, when we can make custom workflows, I think that'll be pretty nice because there's different ways that all of us work with these different tools, and how I do file management might be different from how you do file management and the tools that you want to have available. So being able to customize that will be a great boon. But for now, it's kind of our best interpretation after a lot of research and talking to customers on just making things simple. And for those of you who have been using Mylio for a while, I know at this point you're probably not terribly intimidated by all of the options here in Mylio, but for a new user, it can be kind of overwhelming. So especially for somebody you just want to hand it off and let them browse really quick, putting it into the basic, giving them access to just the all photos and letting them browse without having access to your dashboard and those types of things can really make a nice difference for those particular scenarios. So it's very much up to you. You don't have to use them if you don't find them useful, but hopefully in some scenarios and for certain people, they will be very, very useful. All right. Looks like that's all the questions here on workflows. I want to thank you guys all for being here and for attending this topic. I want to go ahead and open the floor up now to Q&A. So this opens up for all topics, not just workflow. So if you have another question about Mylio Photos or photography, photo organizing, family history, all of that, I am happy to help. So Dawn asks, are workflows shareable with others? So workflows are available in every instance of Mylio Photos as long as you're up to date with the newest version. So people can go ahead and switch between that. So if your spouse has Mylio Photos on their phone, they can switch between those workflows on their phone. You can't assign it to somebody's device. You do that through Spaces if you want to go that route. But that just it's just for controlling how you as the user on your device are interacting with your library. Well, thank you again for joining me today. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and that you enjoyed this session. Workflows are a great new feature. I invite you to check them out, see what you think. And, something to look forward to is the fact that we will be able to customize them in the future. So that'll be a lot of fun as well. So we will see you next week. Keep in mind that on Tuesday and Thursday, we have open Q&A at 11:30 Pacific, and I hope to see you there. So until then, bye everyone.